Hey everybody, welcome back to Model Train Outsider, episode 18. I am always Anthony Dodge, and as almost always, I'm joined by the ghost of Nags Past, 2015 me.
Yeah, the younger, handsomer, more fun and enthusiastic, more inspirational 2015 version of you. Speaking of you, where were you last week?
I took a break. I needed a weekend off.
You made another video without me, didn't you?
No, I did not make a video without you last weekend. I just took the weekend off. I needed a break.
You're lying to me. I know it. You're lying to me, aren't you?
Dude, you're inside my head all the time. Boy, is he inside my head all the time. How could I lie to you?
You lie to yourself all the time.
I what? How do I lie to myself?
Do you really want me to go there?
All right, never mind. I'll concede you that point. Just let's move on.
Got him again. So then, just what exactly have you done since the last show?
Well, I haven't done much. The whole point of taking a weekend off. I haven't done anything. I did put in the last three radius 2 curves, just to complete that 6th loop. Tested to make sure the trains ran still, and they do, so that's all good. But that's it. Well, I did go to a train show.
Cool. Went to a show again. What'd you find? Anything good?
I didn't find that much. I did find some scenery in Ballastine, which I needed, and some other accessories, a couple of little things I can throw on the layout as we go along.
Great! So why aren't you working?
As I said, I took a break. I needed a little time off.
Then what exactly are you going to do a show on?
The show today's got just a couple of topics. Number one, I'm going to start off with just a brief rundown of what little I did do, and then I want to talk about train shows, at least from my perspective. All right, so let's jump in right now and show you a quick update of the layout. Okay, so the only real changes to the layout, we'll start right here. Last video I actually had radius 1 curves here just to complete this loop, and I finally put in the radius 2 curves to make it cohesive and to complete the run. I also got these all set and put in the bumpers on these platforms here so they all have the bumper stops on them. This is such a small ring, I'll probably just run my Nordwestbahn on that one because he won't look quite as silly, the short train running the short little loop. But that's really it as far as changes to the layout. The only other big news in the layout is my IC2 right here. The control car finally arrived at my shop in Germany, and I've paid for it, so it should be here Tuesday or Wednesday. So that's kind of exciting. So hopefully we'll have this going on a running session with the complete kit layout on it, the complete consist. I ordered these back in early February. These are little, I don't know if they'll show up, they're little pop machines, candy and pop machines, and these are the exact ones that you will find on the Dumb and Horse train station. These are the exact ones. This little company called Modaland makes them, and these were about €5 each, so less than $6 each. Maybe you couldn't make them yourselves, but I think they're really well done. And for $20 each, €20 each, they make them lit. They'll light up, and they're really sharp, but I wasn't going to go that crazy with it. But they make all kinds of great things. If you look at the catalog, they make all kinds of cigarette machines, pop machines. They even make lockers for train stations if you really want to go 3D on the inside of your train station. Anyhow, at the train show I mentioned, I managed to pick up some ballastine, some different colors I needed, and a little bit of flock, blended turf as it's called here, and some other things that I'll be mixing in. And I did manage to find this Fowler bus station kit. Somebody had this one. They had like 4 German models, and I bought 2 of them. On impulse buy, I bought a bridge here. Let me get it out of the sunlight. I bought this bridge here because I've decided somehow I'll just fit this in to create some kind of a scenic idea. But that's it. That's really what is a train show for me. If I'm lucky to pay, because normally my hobby shop charges about $15, and if you can see this, I got these for just over $10. I saved $4, and I bought about 6 jugs of the Woodland Scenic stuff, which basically, when you add up the cost of gas and entrance fee, I basically paid the same amount of money if I'd gone to my train shop and just paid the regular money. The only other update is I have been, part of the reason I need to get this stuff is I have been adding a little bit more ballast here along this. I'm starting to go around. I put the final end pieces in on the platforms here, and we're slowly working in. My colleague at work says he's already started making the roof supports for the platform rain canopies, and I have been slowly trying to fill in these cracks, but it's very tedious. I take spare pieces and I cut the little pieces out, and then I cover the cracks over with that. That's tedious, and so anyhow, that is really all the changes and updates on the layout for now. So anyhow, back to me.
All right, so not much has happened in 2 weeks. I took a weekend off. I hit a point. I had finally gotten all the track in. Everything was laid, and I was, yes, finally done with all the track laying after stressing about it really for 3 years. But all the track was in. And your brain says, okay, let's take a break. So since I was kind of taking a break anyhow, I was out of a couple of supplies again. I elected to go to a train show last weekend. And I've gone to a few train shows in my first 3 years in the hobby. I'm still a novice in this hobby. I'm not a novice to building scenery and things like that, but I am a novice to model trains. So when I first got into the hobby, I went to lots of train shows just to see what's going on there. And hence, one more example of being a model train outsider is for somebody into European modern era passenger trains. Most American train shows really offer very little. When you go to a train show in America, how do you explain it? The people watching this either don't go to train shows themselves, or they might go to 1 or 2 and they're into American trains. Or if you're in England or Germany, you've got really great train shows based on the videos you show. But the vast majority of the train shows I go to locally, they have nothing for me. Everybody is selling DC, 2-rail, American, old, new, steam, whatever. You just don't find European train stuff. I understand why. Americans do American trains. Also, very few train shows have the big train dealers represented there. Now, the one I went to last weekend, just outside of Detroit, Michigan, which is the second largest show in Michigan and maybe 4th largest, that's in legitimate driving distance for me, had quite a few American dealers. Walters, Atlas, MTH had some representatives there. The German company Pico had a representative there, P-I-K-O, not the British P-E-C-O, Pico. But to be honest, he had a couple of G-scale sets because Pico emphasizes G-scale here, and American-style trains, not the Central European stuff. And I was asking him questions about the new ICE-4 that Pico's releasing this year because I'm trying to decide,
Pico's ICE4 or go with the brand I tend to collect, Miraklin, their ICE4, which is a year and a half away yet. But sadly, I probably knew as much about the Pico European products as he did, and that's sad. So one of the problems with being an HO model scale outsider is when you go to train shows, there's nothing really there for you. I have collected, every now and then somebody selling European cars, HO scale cars, or maybe some people that will fit in on the layout. Last weekend I was actually lucky. I went because there was stuff I needed, and my local hobby store, which trains are not a hobby to this hobby store. They have a very limited collection, and again, it's all American DC rail, definitely nothing. But even their scenery selection, which is decent, was missing a lot of stuff I needed. So I went to this train show, and I found some of the scenics I needed. In fact, I found them a little cheaper. Because see, normally I'm forced to buy online. And I do take some grief from American friends and German friends for not supporting your local train shop. I don't have a local train shop. As I've mentioned in many videos, my local train shop is almost 2 hours away. And that's not easy to do after a day of work, to hop in the car, drive the 2 hours there, spend an hour in the shop, 2 hours back. You try to do it on the weekend. But even then, the prices at the American shop, because of import fees and duties and them wanting to make their profit, are quite higher than what I can do ordering online straight from Germany. And I get it from Germany faster. But anyhow, and those shops rarely have even half of what I need. So it's usually online. But I went to a show because there are certain things maybe I could find at a show that are cheaper than buying online and paying shipping costs. Well, I did luck out. I bought a few shakers of Woodland Scenics ballast, different types of ballast and ground cover, and I actually got them for $4 cheaper than I would have paid had I bought them at the local hobby shop, if the local hobby shop had had them. I did find one model kit of a German, a Fowler model kit that was a German bus stop that I needed some pieces from it. So, hey, that was convenient. But that is the exception of the 10, 15 train shows I've gone to in the last 3 years. All the big local ones, which local, big are almost oxymorons. You might see 50, 60 dealers. The one I just went to last weekend had 200 dealers. But outside of some scenery stuff, there's just nothing there. And yes, as traditional with train shows, you have groups, model railway clubs that put out their layouts. And they're beautiful. But it's the same 6 to 8 groups at every single show. And you love to see the layouts. You love to see some of what they're working. But it's not the draw. You don't really see anything new and different. It's the same 8 groups, their same 8 layouts, and you appreciate the artistry. You do learn some tricks, but there comes a time where I'm looking for European. I'm looking for Era 6, Miraklin, Rocco, Brava, Pico, P-I-K-O, and the various German, Central European style trains, modern era. And as cool as train shows are, and I watch videos from friends who go to train shows, it's just, there's nothing there for me. My company, my biggest company, Miraklin, that's my track, 90% of my trains. They do 5 shows in the United States where they have their representatives there. They do the big NMRA convention, which is usually somewhere near Kansas City. A couple of years ago it was in Indianapolis, which is about 5 hours away. Kind of expensive to get in, but that's the big model railway show in this country. But Miraklin attends that one. Then they do one show up in Wisconsin, which is about a 9-10 hour drive. And then they do 2 on the West Coast, 2 on the East Coast, 1 on the West Coast. And that's the only shows the Miraklin representatives do. And none of those shows are remotely easy to get to if you live where I live. you want to pay the airfare, rent hotel, rent a car, and blah, 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 and go to the show. All of a sudden, the experience might be worth it to go to that one big show, and my wife and I talk about it. But the hassle and the money, so yeah, maybe it's kind of a choice, but that's the only time you'd see Miracle in there. And they usually don't have the products on the American scene yet that I've already bought from Germany for half the price I'd get it from here in America. So anyhow, model train shows really, really don't have a lot of use for me. So I really have tailed off going, although I did go last weekend. There's one in my town this morning that I'm probably not going to because there might be 30 tables there, and me finding anything of use is like minimal chance. Anyhow, so that's kind of where things are. Hope you enjoyed the little bit of progress we did, and obviously many of you may disagree with train shows, but again, I'm not condemning train shows. I'm just saying that when you're an American into modern era Central European trains and you don't live on the East Coast or the West Coast or maybe in Chicago, model train shows have proven to be a waste of effort for me, and so I really have scaled back on going to them because I rarely find anything useful. Every now and then I find something to bash and do, but that's kind of where it's at. All right, so hopefully we'll be back next week with maybe a running session and maybe a little more progress. I'm trying to put in a little bit more ballasting. So anyhow, we will see you next week. Bye.